BBAI is in a very nice position here for the buyers, looking to get that squeeze up, breaking through that 787 once and for all, and continuing our big move up, trying to retest that 1036. We found some obvious ascending support as we're getting tighter with this resistance and the support. Now will sellers step in here, breaking us down, or are we going to get that squeeze out of this range and see a continued move up? Let's start on the weekly, guys. I like to cover that BBI is one of these low cap stocks. No stranger to these huge moves up and huge retracements. A lot of times, guys, on the stock, once we get a huge move up, we get a big selling retracement. Sometimes the entire movement, sometimes we hold higher. And like we saw right here, we fell harder. This formation held a little bit higher. This formation, full retracement. And the most recent formation, big move up and full retracement. Now, what we see here is a bit different, right? I think that we are getting different price action as we kind of squeeze into this pennant-like formation, get that big movement up, and we see a little bit of back and forth, more than we're used to seeing, right? Every single time we've seen a squeeze, big move up, retrace. It's been a lot quicker of a movement. Besides when we saw that IPO range right here, right? We get that big move up, sellers retrace about halfway, get a continued movement up. But nevertheless, this was 3 weeks of price action, 1 week of retracement, and around 3 weeks of price action back up, reaching that all-time high. What we see here is a bit different, guys, as we see a nice big movement up. Sellers try to mirror that movement. Buyers buy it right back up. Sellers are trying to step in again, but we're kind of getting tight here. We see 4 weeks of price action now within the general range after that breakout. So definitely some different price action here. And from the weekly standpoint, I think we definitely look very healthy. Now on the daily, we see a bit of a better perspective, right? So we've gotten that big movement up, kind of in this cup and handle like formation. You see the cup kind of get formed. Rough cup and handle, right? A little bit sloppy here. Nevertheless, we see a little bit of a cup and handle get formed here, guys, as we hit around that, say, 787. And we form that, guys. We kind of get a handle-like effect. And then we see a little bit of back and forth. Buyers try to push it above that 787. Sellers step in again, just like they stepped in right here, guys, on the first try. And now we're getting a bit tighter. So we see this very volatile price action. We are still quite volatile. Volume has simmered down, though, as we see huge spikes of all-time volume. And we've kind of gone on a decline. See a little spike there. Nevertheless, we are declining, which makes sense, right? Because we had a huge movement up. Now we're kind of getting tighter within a pennant-like structure. So if we saw a squeeze, you would see volume fly right back up. As if we squeeze out of this pennant-like formation, we could be seeing a very volatile, drastic move up, possibly even hitting around that $10 level. As this stock is no stranger to these huge movements up and huge movements down like we've analyzed. Now what we see here, guys, we see a bit of selling pressure around that $8 level. Try to get above it. All-time high of this formation was $8.72, but we do wick off that. Sellers push us right back down. And sellers try to gain that momentum as they're trying to copy price history, get a big movement up, get a big sell-off. So they're trying to do something like this, guys. They're trying to retrace the entire movement here. That's what some people thought might have happened. But we do stay in buyer control as we find a little bit of ascending support. Tap right here, get that movement up after that sell-off attempt. Kind of get tight here. So we see 2 days of price action of indecision. We don't see a huge move up or down. But then we see a very nice green wide bar pushing us above that 787, which was the major resistance zone. But then sellers step right back in. But we do remain above that. But then sellers keep it going, right? 2 more days of sellers in that ultimate control. With that more recent seller control day being very much back and forth. You see a lot of buying pressure there. And then buyers get back in control, but we can't get above that 787, showing that 787 rough level / that $8 psychological level. It's extremely hard for price to stay above within this, more recent price range as we see here. And then sellers gain that control, but we do hit off around that ascending support. So we are getting tight within this range where we could find a squeeze-like effect to break us out, flush that volume and volatility back within play as we are in a very obvious descending profile on the volume. But I like what I'm seeing here, guys. As a buyer, this is much better to see than past price history of a huge move up and a correction down, far correction down. The sellers couldn't even correct this even halfway. Seeing about a fourth of a retracement back down. We're seeing buyers step right back in, pushing us back to the ceiling. Sellers step in, buyers step in, and we're getting very tight here within this pennant. Given how volatile the stock is, this is pretty tight price action after a huge breakout move. As you can see, like we explained in our past videos, the build up to these movements, we see not a lot going on. And we get a very volatile chop right in this ascending support. Then we see that huge breakout, see that mirroring exact retracement. Just takes the sellers a lot longer than what it took the buyers to get up there. And then we come back down to around that rough range, tap around that 237, and we find another ascending support. This one a bit tighter, not as volatile as we see here. And we get tight, right? We kind of bleed out of that. Can't get that full movement off that ascending support like we did see in this one. And we kind of just bleed out and boom. Then we see buyers get a little bit of a wide green bar given that past price action, right? Kind of get really, really tight. Buyers make a move up. Sellers try to push us back down. We see another nice green bar followed with a vicious, very aggressive wide green bar, an obvious shift in momentum after giving this, less volatile price action. So let's try to step in, mirroring that. Buyers buy it right back up, and we just see a very nice continuation to that 872. And once sellers try to step back in, instead of fully retracing, guys, we do see different price action getting within this pennant-like structure. Looking very good here, guys. We remain bullish. I do think we get that squeeze out of this structure, retesting that 872, and furthermore, possibly getting to that 1036. All right, guys, now on the hourly, we see a better perspective of that move up and that pennant structure. So we get that obvious, very volatile movement up, kind of a stair step pattern, right? Big move up, smaller retracement, big move up, chop, big move up, smaller retracement, big move up, chop, and so a step in there, guys. But we can't get pushed down very much given that big movement, guys, as we saw right there. So buyers find this ascending support here, guys. We get pushed up off that support, reach back above that 787, trying to reach that 872. We can't get there. Sellers push us back down, but we do remain on this ascending support. Getting a nice movement up, and we're kind of just getting tight here, guys. And sellers try to step in. And as we close, they can't step in very hard as we are making higher lows, right? Starting here, higher low, higher low. So great formation as we kind of get tighter. And what we could be seeing here, guys, is continued tightening price action. And we could be getting a breakout. As we kind of get to this resistance and support, we definitely could be seeing a volatile squeeze move out. So hourly kind of correlates with what we're seeing on the daily and the weekly. We remain very much bullish, and I like what I'm seeing here. Now, let me know your price predictions in the comments below. What do you guys think BBAI will hit? I think we look good here. We're in an obvious range, meeting up with resistance and support after a huge movement up, showing a shift in price history. As every time we've gotten a big movement up, we've gotten that sell-off. It's been very quick, right? Very quick movements up and very quick movements down. Got a very quick movement up, but we see some indecision and buyers are remaining that current control here, guys. I think a telltale sign is after we got that big move up last time, saw a lot more days of price action before we get that full retracement. And I do think we are gearing up to get a nice squeeze movement out. If bears get in that control, they have to get in that control and break us under that structure, ultimately tapping around that 613, seeing if that can hold up. But I don't think that's going to happen, guys. We do remain bullish on the channel here. That's all I got for you guys today. If you want to see more BBAI content, make sure to like and subscribe. As always, trade smart. I will see you all in the next one.